Hello and welcome to another Netrunner video. Today we have a Yuko against a Seb deck. I've really been enjoying playing some Seb. I always thought it was a bit tricky, a bit weird, but with some of the new cards, it's just really got into a nice place right now, and there's a really fun kind of puzzle to figure out with while you're playing it. A bit like how Lat used to be, but obviously Lat not so interesting a puzzle anymore and outshadowed by some other things. So I decided whether to mulligan at the start. I had the one Solidarity badge, which I don't know why I put a lot of focus on. Wasn't really the most necessary card, but we decided to mulligan because we were looking for some hard money early. We want either a friend of a friend, possibly the price, not a great card for that, but otherwise a strike fund would also be pretty good, just to give us a little bit of cash at the start to make sure we can get the engine running. And in this case, we're playing an engine of 2 bling. I switched away from Manuensis because we're a bit scared of holding onto a tag onto us. It's just a bit too much of a risk in a lot of the decks that we're seeing now. And so we get started. We price out an Audrey, which is pretty good to see. It's nice to have our breaker already. We also have a friend of a friend, which is great, so we can get that installed. And that means that now we are flooded with cash because we're going to use it to take a tag, install a card for cheaper, and then we will have 9 credits to be able to do lots of different things with, including trashing cards to charge up our Audrey. Now, our opponent here, Dan, has got some assets out, got some ice down. Mostly that's kind of it at the moment. Got a cohort guidance program ticking away. Obviously this is something we want to try and contest. Trying to find a way that we can best get into that. In this case, we do pop the friend of a friend in order to install a Hannah for free with the tag. Something really fun you can do with Hannahs, because this deck runs 3 Hannahs, because we just want to... It's such a great way to remove a tag, and also you get a free run out of it. You can also use that run in order to intentionally not succeed, which can often be the case if it's a barrier. It ends the run, you take a tag, and you're happy. You got to make them res a piece of ice for no clicks, and you got to install a new card, and then you're ready to go and start working on other things. So now that I have the Hannah down in the Audrey, I'm just desperately looking for some way to charge this Audrey. I try checking R&D. I try checking these assets on the table, especially now I have the Hannah down. I'm just trying to find a way to get through and touch a card that I can actually trash. And so I believe that's Crew that we've installed there. Looks like it. And then we have taken a tag, but we decided not to take out the Tattoo Bowler. In hindsight, definitely should have been done. Should have been our way through to get to a cohort guidance program to trash that, but we didn't take the opportunity. I think we were a bit mindful of wanting to keep the crews around because we're worried about Semak Semen, and having 2 means we can take a tag with one, take a tag with the other, and then pay 2 to trash it. So it gives us more options there. Again, we're just kind of poking around now. We're just trying to find some way to charge the Audrey so that then we have something to do. Because at the moment we can't get through to these servers. We can crew through, but we want to try and minimize that. It's also really nice to keep a crew around because then you can run into it, plan to break it with your Audrey, but still use your crew just to get a free install, which is really nice for our deck. And so now we're faced with all ice on all the servers, and we've got one empty server over there, which we are very interested in taking a peek at. The difficult thing I was finding in this current draw I had... Oh, sorry, it's not a second crew. That is a Solidarity badge. That's what it is. That's why I didn't double... yeah, that's why I took a tag when I hit the Tattoo Bowler to install Aracera's crew and decided not to run back at the time. And then we've got a Stone Ship down just to give us a bit of security. It's a little bit too precautionary. We don't quite need it because this deck... it does have Reaper functions. I assume it hasn't ended the line, but it doesn't look like it's trying to kill us, just punish us if we are too aggressive. As in, it's not all in on I'm going to make sure the runner dies. It's instead, I want to score and I want you to leave me alone. If you do come and take something, you'll probably take some damage, and that means I can then finish you off with the end of the line and an Oppo research from a previous turn. And along with that also means that you've got extra ways to do that, a little bit of extra damage if you need to. Especially with something like Moonpool, you can Moonpool to get 2 on a Sting, advance the Sting once. Maybe the first was to install Moonpool. You've now got 3 on a Sting, and 1 click left, so you score it. And maybe they have a tag left from a previous round that you then kill them with End of the Line. So again, we're kind of stuck in this situation where we're just trying to find something to trash, and every time there is not something to trash. So we're stuck in this problem where we've left them with a cohort guidance program and a Bladderwort, and the problem with that is that is just so much fuel. I wasn't really paying much attention while playing to the amount of credits that Dan had, and if I had spent more time looking at that, I would have come to realize that there were lots of opportunities where his money had dropped, that if I did get in, I could either stop him rezzing things like Moonpool, but also I could just turn off the tap. That is a constant drip of income that means that he's very comfortably rich, can afford to install and res whatever he likes, score when he needs to, use Moonpools as he needs to, and doesn't have to worry about the Bladderwort having too many credits that the Bladderwort isn't doing anything. So I'm working out here. I've only got 1 point on the table. He scored a Fuji, which has put him significantly ahead. We go for 2 advancements. I think about whether to pop Stone Ship, try and work out all the ways that I could die here. There's no foot on the table, so at worst, it can only be advanced 4 times as well. So at worst, it could be a see how they run, and I might take a damage or a core. But instead, it's an orbital, so I take a tag, and I install Manuel. Now, this looks like I'm in a really good position now, but unfortunately, by taking a tag and having Manuel install, I suddenly feel like this is the play. This is the thing to do. I should use Manuel, I should get into these servers, and I should touch lots of cards, and then I'll be able to trash something there and charge the Audrey. When really it kind of got me a bit distracted on looking at these central servers, when I don't think that was really where my attention should have been. It should have been focused on that cohort guidance, because right now, look, Dan's got 1 credit. He's going to get 1 from the Bladderwort. He could get 2 from the cohort. If I took out 1 or both of those threats with my 2 clicks left here, I didn't quite manage to trash anything. I'm not sure why I didn't with the run I made, but it would have given me an opportunity to take out these things, and then I could go and clear the cohort guidance and the Bladderwort and make sure he's stuck on 1 credit, which would at least take a turn to reset and recover, which also would give me more opportunity to build up my board state, get in a better position, and then have the threat of Manuel running a central to look at a bunch of cards and possibly steal a considerable amount more points. So here I can see that there's lots of stuff in archives, and I see the ice on archives, and I for some reason just assumed that it must be a Semaxamon, particularly because I'm an Audrey. I assume that that's a great ice to put there, especially when you see a Seb deck across the table. You want to find something that will make privileged access either too risky to try on archives, especially if you if I run archives to check it or test it, then you just don't res, and then when you see the privileged access come down, that's when you res, and that's when suddenly you not only make me make a choice of either cancel the privileged access or take 3 damage and run through it, which means I then lose a card which could have been one of the ones I wanted to install with it. So I think I focused too much on assuming it was a Semaxamon, especially if I did have more consideration for keeping around crews earlier and not just trashing the things that I saw. I would have had the opportunity to be able to crew through that if I had 2 of them, which would let me get past that if I need to. There's also the option that with some of the changes I made to the deck to have more card draw, then being able to draw more freely with Verbal Plasticity or with Dr. Nuka, that would put me in a lot better position, just be able to get through and just kind of charge through if I really need to. But the problem I have at the moment with this deck is that I can only draw 1 card each time. Occasionally I get one from the Solidarity badge if I remember it, but it's not a huge amount of card draw, and it doesn't help you burst through to be able to take on decks like Ayuko, which constantly put the threat on you with the number of cards that you have. So here I pop the Hannah, working out what to do next. I've unfortunately lost all 3 of my privileged accesses at this point, I believe, to damage. So I know that the Hannah's in the bin. I'm not going to be able to do some kind of recursive loop where I run archives, take a tag, install a Hannah, install a crew, and then also install a Gourmand, and be able to pop the Hannah to get an extra click out of it by then getting 1 click back, and also having the 1 free Hannah run click. So I've lost out on a lot of value and opportunity just because I'm too scared that archives might in fact be semi-examine, which is maybe not the right call here. I should have tested the waters more, knowing that the deck is probably on 2 Semac, 3 anemone. I should have been able to consider that maybe it is an anemone, and maybe the semi-examine is more for protecting an asset rather than archives, where usually with AUCO you're quite freely able to, with spin doctors and moon pools, control what's in there, which may be also allowing the runner to take a certain number of points, so they take some damage as a result of it. So now we come down with 3 more assets. I'm in a pretty rough position. I'm so behind on points. I'm constantly worried and thinking about what damage I'm going to take here, whether I can survive. Every single run, I'm just thinking, what could happen here? Could I die? How could I lose? And here I play a price. I see a buffer drive. This is great because I'm getting to the end of my deck, and I know that an Ashen Epilogue will help me go for the long game. In my head, I've decided at this point that I can sit back a little bit. I can leave the Cohort Guidance and the Bladderwort if I just make sure I keep checking the things that are being placed down. There's no way that Dan can score out of hand here, so I just need to make sure I can get through the things on the table. And unfortunately, here comes in the Fly Swatter. I don't have a crew here, so I can't crew through it. So now I need to work out a way to recharge this Audrey, which is becoming increasingly difficult for me to work out what to do with it. And again, I'm in this position where I just need to get through somewhere, trash an asset. So if I had a Banhar, I could have dropped that on the Tatubola or the 7x7, and also if I had, I could just run through the Anemone, take 1, and hope that there is a card after that I can trash. There's a high number of trashables in here, so maybe that's what I need to get the Audrey counter back, because once I do, then I can easily go through that Fly Swatter. But instead, I'm caught a little bit running around here. Use the hand to get some clicks back, but unfortunately I'm in such low cards on hand with Seb installing a bunch of things from my hand that I'm really working out what I do next. I'm 1 credit off the opportunity to be able to draw a card and play Ashen to finish out my turn. I do run and make this trash, which is good, but I've got 1 click left, so with no cards in hand, I choose to draw. And unfortunately I don't have anything else I can do with this. I'm thinking about whether I should have made a run. If I take out the Bladderwort, then I don't die. If I steal something and don't win, then I die from the Bladderwort. So I'm really stuck on options here. And here Dan uses AUCO to put a card in archives, flip it over with Cohort Guidance. He also has a moon pool just in case he needed it, but he can just score out by putting the other 3 advancements and then score out to get to 7 points, which in my head at the time I was like, oh, how can he kill me? How can he kill me? But I forget Netrunner can just be a game of points. And so, yeah, unfortunately didn't come away with this one. I feel like there were some important lessons to learn here, particularly that a Cohort Guidance and Bladderwort. Cohort Guidance certainly is a trash on site. Bladderwort, not necessarily trash on site, but certainly something that you should see as a goal that you're aiming towards to get rid of. But there we have it. That is the end of that game. Thanks for watching.